Okay, so I am testing out my new Bluetooth mic, and as part of that, I decided to narrate my walk to the Bansko bus station. So, one of the lovely things about living in a small mountain village is in order to take the bus somewhere, you have to walk and check the bus schedule beforehand. You don't usually need to buy a ticket beforehand unless it's really a peak holiday time. Ugh, there's like dust in my eyes. I'm not planning on editing this at all. I'm just gonna post it. This is gonna be super annoying stream of consciousness video, so that's not your vibe. Just click away. Um, One of the difficult things about living in a small mountain village is that you have to check the bus stop the day before you need the bus. Because if you check it too far in advance, there's a very slight but realistic chance that it may have changed and one or more of the buses may have been canceled for like unknown reasons. This despite the fact that it basically never changes. Except when you really needed to not change. So I check the bus schedule every single time I'm going to take the bus the day beforehand. There should be a 7 a.m. bus or a 12:51 p.m. bus that get me to the airport on time. And the 12:51 bus obviously is much preferable. It kind of cuts it a little bit close, but not really. Unless I'm waiting to hear back and someone might want to meet me in Sofia tomorrow afternoon, in which case, obviously, I'm going at 7 a.m. because there is no in between. So that's a bit rough. It makes for a long day. But my flight has a connection as well. So I don't know. But on the other hand, I've done this so many times that it just is what it is. Like, you just put up with it. Yeah, so like, I'll just kind of show what's around. Teenagers fountain. It's very cute here. I mean, there's a reason I've been here off and on 3 years. There's a reason why it's my third home, kind of half. um, if it wasn't for the fact that I don't have residency here, I would stay here a lot more. There's thunder. Gosh. But yeah, my status here, unfortunately, is just passing through perpetually, or frequently anyway. I've been passing through a lot the past few years, and I'll miss it. I was speaking with someone just yesterday about my sort of future here and if I would buy the apartment I'm renting long term. And I could, but even that doesn't give you residency automatically. It makes it somewhat easier to get if you have a British passport like I do, but that's no guarantee. And it's just a huge pain. The other thing about buying apartments here, which a lot of people do, a lot of foreigners do, but there's not really any sort of quality control mechanism. And if you have a problem, or if the building has a problem and say like wants to hold the builder liable, or if there's some dispute involving who pays for the electricity and at what rate, which is like apparently the ongoing dispute in my building and has been for 2 years, because they're charging they're being charged at the commercial rate, but it's supposed to be the residential rate, which is cheaper. It's really hard to get that kind of thing resolved. it's like government bureaucracy in the US or the UK times 10. And that's just kind of what you're looking at. So whenever I'm in Estonia, where I actually do have residency, I'm just like, wow, it's so different. It's polar opposite. Everything's super, super efficient. And there's also there are also no favors, right? There's no like, oh, I know a guy, so it'll be easier, make it easier kind of thing. It's just like everything straightforward. Like, this is how it's going to be. You don't get to skip to the front of the line. Nobody does. Um, and for the most part, I like that. I mean, it's better to not have red tape than to have to know someone in order to cut through it. That's what I think anyway. So it just started thundering again. I don't have an umbrella with me today. So this could go either way. That's one of the fun things about being just on like in the mountains. These storms just kind of roll off the mountain there all the time in the summer, but it's that really quick rain. So normally the summer rain just like moves in. If you're lucky, it's just sprinkles. If you're unlucky, it pours, and then it goes away. And then if you linger around here though to October, November, then it just rains, and then it's just pretty miserable. So here, it's such an interesting juxtaposition here. You see that little corner store. It barely looks functional, that little shop. So it's an easy pay shop where you would like pay things like your phone bill or your TV bill or whatever, stuff like that. And then over here, it's a new build. I don't even know what. I don't know if that's going to be a house or a massive storefront. I mean, it looks like it used to be a store, but they're building a whole addition on top of it. Surely it's a store of some sort. But the other thing with that, though, is like it's obviously an ongoing construction project, but it's the middle of the day on a Thursday and no one's working on it. So the status of that construction project could be literally anything. Like, it could be on hold for 4 months because of whatever. It could be like a permit issue. Someone went on vacation. Like, I don't know. It could be on hold for forever and they just abandoned their paint and ladders. Like, it could be anything. Or they just took the day off today and they'll be back tomorrow, but they're all hiking in the mountains. I was actually the person I'm supposed to meet in Sofia. I was confirming with him today, or I sent a message 2 days ago and didn't hear back. So I sent another one yesterday, like, hey, will you have time to meet? And he's like, wait, let me see and text you later, but my signal's bad. So sorry for being intermittent because I'm up on the mountain. So that's a very typical Bulgarian, like, summer hiking and taking random time off for a week to go hiking, camping, whatever. That's very normal. Someone else I know, Bulgarian, told me today he's going on like a 10-day hiking thing starting, I think he said it was 10 days, starting this coming Friday or Saturday. So, I mean, they take it seriously, and they should. It's beautiful nature around here. I don't take advantage of it as much as I should because I'm not really a camping person, and that's a point of shame in my life. It always has been. I've always been ashamed of not being a camping person, but it's just really uncomfortable. Okay, so now I'm at the train station. These people are looking at me like, why are you filming? I know, people, I know, it's obnoxious. I need to see what the schedule is. It used to be that the bus and train stations were separate. Now they're one thing, and I don't know where they normally post the bus schedule. That's actually kind of an issue. I don't know. Let's go out on the train platform, see what's up. I've actually never ridden the train here, and that's another point of shame. Everyone says there's this really lovely train ride you can take. It's about 3 hours through the mountains, and it's on kind of a historical train, which runs on a narrower track than standard. I don't know about trains, but apparently that's a thing. I think maybe a holdover from Soviet times kind of thing. Maybe, if I'm remembering that correctly. Anyway, I'm gonna turn and show like where I am. I'm not gonna go all the way over and show the people genuinely glaring at me right now. This is so, I don't normally film this kind of thing. It's super awkward. Let's go over here and see if we can find the bus schedule at the front. I don't know. So there, that was the bus station. It's being completely gutted, and I don't know for what reason. I genuinely don't know why they would need to expand the bus station. There was no point. There aren't that many buses. So are they doing something completely different with the building? I have no idea. I think I'll ask on the WhatsApp group. Like I'm genuinely curious now. But yeah, I'm just not seeing. Maybe it's over here. It's probably this little. Yeah, it is. Okay, I'm gonna have to stop filming because this woman's standing there. Okay, I got my bus times and I still don't know what I'm doing. But I got the times. So there are two, there's like a central bus station in Sofia and then a west bus station. The problem is the central bus station, so the times are 6:59. It used to be 7 a.m. Apparently it's moved up by 1 minute. I'm not really sure like how that's significant considering there's like a 10-minute window when they actually arrive, right? And then 12:51. To go to the west bus station, I could go something like 8 a.m. or 8:50 or something like this, or 10:30, something around there. Those are better times than 6:59 or 7 a.m. But the buses that go to the west bus station are almost always the little buses. And mini buses make me sick. So I get motion sickness in the car pretty easily. And I live in a really bad place for that. Driving around curvy mountain roads with hairpin turns and things like this is pretty awful for me. The big buses can't take those turns and can't take the roads as fast as the little ones can. Or God forbid a car. Car is awful. If I had my way in life, I would like have a driver who I could tell to drive as slowly as I wanted. But that cost 80 euro to get in to Sofia with a private car. So don't generally do that unless I can split it with like at least 2 people, and that's crowded and it's hard to coordinate. And so normally it's just the bus. This is the gun shop where I bought my pepper spray. When I bought pepper spray to carry with me at night, which is not really necessary here, but someone was making me feel uncomfortable for a while, so I decided carrying pepper spray would make me feel better. And so I did for a time. When I went to buy that pepper spray, I made a male friend go with me because I was like, I don't want to go into that gun shop alone. I'll feel really awkward. Like, look at me. Like, do I look like I belong in a gun shop? So he was like, all right. So I was like, you need to just come and be a man that stands there. You don't even have to say anything. You just need to stand there. He's like, okay, cool. So we agreed we'd do that, and I'd like buy him dinner afterwards. So that's what we did. So this was like a year ago, over a year ago now, gosh. The time goes by. So we go to this gun shop, right? And the guy was actually really friendly. But he's kind of this gruffer Bulgarian guy, like the kind of guy you'd be expecting to own a gun shop in a Bulgarian mountain village. So there's a lot of, I mean, it's hunting rifles, right, that they sell there. It's not handguns, probably. At least probably not on display. I don't know what you can get otherwise. My guess is you can probably get other types of guns otherwise to within limits. Probably not like to the degree that you can in the States, but you can probably get something. Anyway, so there's lots of different hunting rifles and things on display. And I was like, oh, do you have pepper spray? Or I put it into Google Translate, like pepper spray. So he brings out 2 canisters from behind the counter. Says, one is this size. It's pepper spray designed to be carried in your pocket for like self-protection. The other is bear spray, and it's massive. So the can is 3 times the size, right? And it has a big picture of a bear on it. And the thought that I had in that moment, I was almost like, well, maybe I should just buy the bear spray because it would still work on a person. But then if I ever go camping, there's a callback right there. If I ever go camping, like I never do, then I've got bear spray and I'm like pre-equipped. It's a 2-for-1 deal. Decided not to because I didn't really want to carry around a can that big. I can't hold the phone and gesture how big it was, but it was probably about the size of 2 soda cans put together, stacked on top of one another. Yeah. So I was like, no, I'll just get the regular thing. But then recently, it's funny because the whole thing that happened on the internet recently about would you rather be stuck with a bear or a man in the woods? People either know this or they don't. Like, people either got very into this or it completely passed them by. If you don't know what it is, just Google man versus bear in the woods. And then you'll get a whole host of commentary about how many, oh, I just got whistled at. That was awkward. It still surprises me. I'm still always like, do you know what? If you came closer, you would see that I'm old. Like, I am old and I'm too old for that now. But because you're in a car and you're far away, you can't really tell that I'm old. So I'm not yet reaping the benefits that women get from getting older, which is like not being bothered. I get some of the benefits, but when someone's far away, you still get that sometimes. So yeah, he'd be disappointed if he came closer. Anyway, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, the man versus the bear thing. Well, that's another calculation, isn't it? I've never even given that some thought, but if I were now, I'd probably still choose the bear, in fairness. If I were older than what I am, yeah, I'd probably choose the man because, well, that's not true. I'd still choose the bear. I'd still choose the bear because there are some people that are just opportunistic, aren't they? And not picky whatsoever. Yeah, I'd choose the bear no matter what. But I was watching this thing the other day where it was weird because it said, it was like people asking these men, would you rather your daughter be in the woods with a man or a bear? And they were always immediately just like, bear, 100% bear. Which is funny because it's like as soon as you put it in that context, like someone you're inherently designed biologically to be protective of, then immediately they're like, oh, bear. Whereas if you ask guys who like don't have kids or don't have a daughter, they get really confused by the question. And they're like, well, why would a woman choose a bear? Like, it's really dangerous. Like, they don't even get it. I've tried to explain it to multiple men who don't get it. And there's a horse cart. Okay, I should show that because people will like that. Look at that. That really happens. Most people drive cars here. Most people drive cars, but there is a population that lives out of the town, like rural. I mean, this is rural, but there's a population that's really rural, and they still do horses and carts. I don't really know why. I actually need to ask. That's a question I've never asked anyone because, I mean, you can get cars really cheaply here, like old junk. You can get an old piece of junk car for not very much money, and it takes money to maintain a horse. So it's not as though I don't think it's a purely economic thing. I think it's just sort of like what they've always done. So just carry on doing it. And moving certain things. Like that person had a horse and a giant flatbed thing that they were moving some furniture on, and the horse was dragging that. It's hard to have a car big enough to move furniture. So it actually kind of makes sense now that I think about it. The other context where I see them using a horse cart often is moving fruit in, and they'll bring in fruit and vegetable for the market. There's a small market every day, and then there's a big one on Sundays. I should post footage of that. That's something. That's the kind of thing that tourists really like, except there's not that many foreign tourists here. There's like this weird population of foreign semi-locals like me, and foreign locals like who bought property here, and then tourists from elsewhere in Bulgaria. In the summer, I mean, and that's it. In the winter, as a ski resort, it attracts people from like all over Europe. But in the summer, you have to be here. You've got to have like a reason to be here from overseas. It's not a common international summer destination. All right, so now I'm walking by the old guys who sit there and drink all day. I'm not gonna film them, but that's what they do. It's around the corner from my apartment, and that's all they do. That's how they pass the time. There's usually a street dog around, but I don't see him today. I don't know where he was. There was one that I really liked for a while that I named Bruno, and I went away for 6 months, and I came back, and Bruno had apparently relocated himself, and it broke my heart. Okay, I'm home. I'm done.